Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. I continue today with more of your questions in another segment of Ask Judy. I have a couple questions here from Dave. Actors have to deal with privacy. I can imagine as you get noticed, it becomes harder and harder to have a private life. How do actors generally cope with privacy and boundaries? I'm sure fans at times can be a bit ill-mannered, but of course, many more are great. That's true. There's a lot of, in general, I would say the majority of fans are great, and they really just want to let you know that they love your work, they love your show, they love what you've done, which is wonderful to hear. That never gets old, because the reason we do it is the work. So in terms of setting boundaries, it can be challenging, challenging sometimes to want to just have some personal time with maybe your family, your friends, and as much for you as for the other people in your life. They don't necessarily sign up for that. So, I get that someone can be excited that this might be their only opportunity to make contact with someone that they admire and watch on the screen. But have to say that following people into bathrooms is inappropriate, or sometimes in the middle of a meal you're about to take a bite and someone's like, "Can you sign this?" So I would just ask that people maybe think and be a little respectful also, that recognize that if someone's in the middle of having a meal, that maybe that might not be the time to go up and interrupt them with their family, that maybe take a look at asking if they might do it later. If someone comes up, I might be like, "I'm perfectly happy to. Let me just finish what I'm doing here." So maybe try and think of it from the other side. If somebody is overexcited about it, we do our best. Most performers try to be as interactive and as generous with their fans as possible. Let's see, you also said you appreciated Richard being on, and as did I. It was great to have him take time out of his schedule to spend with me and to share with all of you. Then you said that Richard talked about a mix of ego and work ethic, and that I also mentioned it got to me. Does fame really change the person? Is it individual situations, or are there common patterns with that? I don't know. I think it can be pretty common if you go from obscurity to suddenly being in a hit show, and people are suddenly, especially for a young person, I think to understand all of a sudden there being all this extra attention and these perks and people treating you well and getting invited to special occasions like awards shows or premieres, or it's a little heady. And so to start thinking that you're sort of special and important and all of that is very seductive. And there were points where I started buying, sort of believing my own press and believing all of that, and then wanting to sort of assert that people should treat me differently. And I, fortunately, for however long it lasted, I apologize to anybody that I worked with that I may have been difficult at times in that sort of young arrogance. But I came around to recognizing really what's important, which is the work, and that I want my work to speak for itself, and that if people are going to respect me, I have to earn that. We can't insist that people respect us. So, I have tried to go forward and treat other people the way I want to be treated, to not feel that I'm somehow being insulted if I have some tiny dressing room instead of some big dressing room. It's that ultimately that's not the important thing. The important thing is that I enjoy the work and that I want to do the best work I can. So I think that is common, and I think it can be very common with young people because we haven't had as much life experience to put things into perspective. So, and that is also, I think, where in your next question you say, how do you cope with it? And more importantly, what happens when that fame goes away? As obviously all actors endure the ups and downs of fame. I think coming to recognize that who you are as a person. We're all special. We're special for different reasons. Some are more public reasons and some are just personal. Some people, it's like everybody's a hero in some way in their own life, even if it's, not even if, but it can be raising a wonderful family. People we will never know or meet. And by comparison, I feel, there's a value to what we do, in the entertainment industry, trying to keep morale up and things like that. Set good examples. I think those are the types of things that we can do that are valuable. But I think first and foremost, you have to, as an individual, have your own sense of self-worth, and that it can't just come from the outside. And that's what I see with the fame thing, is that if you're not really grounded in your own sense of self, then you can start feeling that your characters or this unrealistic world of Hollywood or whatever, somehow your fame equates to your value, and that is just nonsense. And that's what I see happen with younger people sometimes, is that they don't recognize that all of the attention and everything is not necessarily about them. That there's a lot of fair weather friends that yes, when it goes away, a lot of people disappear because they were just sort of jumping on your success train. And when your success train isn't going at full speed, you're not valuable to them in the same way. So I think our value has to come from within, and recognize that whether you have a hit show or you don't have a hit show, or you're more famous this week and next week nobody wants to hire you, that doesn't make your own self-worth any less. So I think that's the most important lesson for us to learn. Next question is from Larry, who said, when you feel sad, what cheers you up the most? Music or ice cream? I would say music more than ice cream. What cheers me up? It depends on the circumstances, but sometimes getting out and doing something, I feel like getting into action, whether it's that I go out and ride my horse, or, I go take a walk and enjoy the outside scenery, or I talk to, call a friend that I'm close to. Things like that will cheer me up. I try not to let food be the thing that cheers me up, because I think it's not a good habit for me. That's what I have for this segment of Ask Judy. I'll be back with more behind the scenes of the Waltons and more Ask Judy. If you're enjoying these, please do hit like and subscribe. If you want to know when I'm posting another one, hit that notification bell. If you want to share a question that you'd like me to consider answering in an Ask Judy segment, put it in the comments below. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.